It is quite common for the average religious person to engage in prayer. When in need, or to wish someone well, a silent prayer is often offered as a means of trying to sway, or at least draw the attention of a deity. Although some might profess otherwise, it's hard to imagine someone praying without wanting some sort of attention. When I was a child, I had the nightly routine of praying every night before going to bed. It was always done as an expression of gratitude for being alive, and to that end, my prayers had an innocuous meaninglessness that ultimately only kept me awake an extra few minutes. However, my experience wasn't a complete reflection of many other prayer experiences. Quite often I'll hear something of the power of prayer, where someone's earnest request for an ill loved one to make a recovery will somehow be answered. This claim has seriously been undermined by the prominent Harvard prayer study, which detailed that prayer had no power of intervention over patients diagnosed with a variety of illnesses. It was also shown to have a small negative effect for those who did know they were being prayed for. Although not conclusive evidence of the powerlessness of prayer, it stands as one of the few empirical studies to test this. The main problem is the difficulty in testing a causal relationship when one part of that relationship may not exist in the first place. However, there are some basic examples of how psychology outlines how superstitious behavior, such as engaging in prayer, can be fostered in animals. In a famous study, noted behaviorist B.F. Skinner constructed a series of boxes he modestly called Skinner boxes. Within them he would house pigeons who would sit around, occasionally being awarded a food pellet at a random interval. As the food pellets would enter the cages, the pigeons would be performing an arbitrary action such as cleaning their wing or pecking the cage. As additional pellets appeared, a small subset of these pigeons would happen to be performing the same action. For example, a pigeon cleaning its wing before the appearance of the first pellet, and then again cleaning its wing before the third or fourth. The pigeons who happened into this circumstance would begin repeating the action more frequently, and the random nature of the pellet drops ensured that they would be rewarded. What is happening in this experiment is that pigeons are forming a causal connection whereby performing a single action will lead to a specific result, such as cleaning its wing to make a food pellet appear. Although the wing cleaning has nothing to do with the food pellet appearing, once the connection is made, a pigeon will persist in this behavior until the food pellet appears, seemingly unaware that the food pellets are appearing with no regard to its behavior. This is in essence where all superstitious behavior comes from. When someone reads a horoscope, general as it is, it probably won't come true. And even if it does, who's to say that it wasn't an accident? Statistically, though, eventually a small group of people will notice that a horoscope has a decent average of being accurate. Although it's a coincidence, a causal connection will nonetheless be formed, and the individuals will assume the horoscope has a genuine prophetic power. The same actions apply to prayer. When someone prays for something to happen, the odds of it happening aren't actually altered. What is altered is that person's belief in the power of prayer after what is being sought does or does not happen. If it doesn't happen, someone might consider prayer a silly waste of time. But if it does, they might believe that there is some kind of causal connection between the action of prayer and the outcome associated with it. But what about the prayers I whispered as a child? The ones that were merely for attention and a general hope for good fortune for myself and all those I cared about. Well, if you imagine someone to be receiving those prayers, even without evidence that this is the case, the behavior is being reinforced by your imagination, much like wrapping yourself in a security blanket. The imagined receiver acts as a comfortable boost to your self-esteem and self-worth. These valuable resources which are being created within you can make prayer work 100% of the time. However, these could be replaced with self-affirmations or even some kind words from a loved one. Perhaps the saddest aspect of losing prayer is losing that warmth you once felt as a child when you communed with your special imaginary friend. In an odd sense, I almost miss it myself. But just because it might be comforting to believe something is true does not actually mean that the belief has any credence. Without any actual evidence, the behavior is meaningless to everyone but the one engaging in it. While I would never take away anyone's desire to soothe themselves with whatever innocuous behavior they wish to engage in, I would kindly hope that they keep it to themselves and keep me out of their prayers. To wish for prayers to effect real change in the physical world is operating at the intellectual level of a pigeon, and to use them as a personal comfort is to operate at the level of a child. The latter is less troubling than some behaviors, but the former is a bit malicious and seems like a preemptive strike on doing nothing that would actually help a dire situation. This is summed up nicely in the line, "When prayers turn into promises, not even fate can stand in their way." So instead of looking to the heavens for an answer, perhaps you should look to the world around you and find the answer for yourself.